Welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. 2 a.m, my mind is on you. 4 a.m, it still hasn't moved. Hit me to tell me you get off at 10. Come here, I'll make sure you get off again. Welcome to the Guy and Harley podcast. I'm Guy Pigden.
And I'm Harley Neville. That's pretty good. I'd be quite proud of that rap.
You'd be proud of that one.
That. Yeah, it's good.
It's a little, it's a kind of a bit basic.
Well, but what I really, really enjoy in my raps is using the same words to mean two different things.
Yes.
So in his case...
always a favourite.
Hit me to tell you get off at 10. Come here, I make sure you get off again. That's good use of get off.
Yes, it's good use of getting off, and that's what attracted me to use this particular lyric from Drake.
Because we're getting off the podcast, we quit. This is the last episode, goodbye.
We'll never quit. Now this is a semi-drunk cast. This is the Guy and Harley.
I just broke my glass. I just broke my favourite glass.
He just broke his glass.
I did.
Well, like as I was saying, this is the Guy and Harley Drunkcast. We've got
evidently a little drunker than
you anticipated. We've got 4 different bottles of alcohol. We've got a couple of beers. I'm sipping on a whiskey. Every sip that I take on this whiskey, every little nip is about $3. It's $3 per sip.
I'm working my way through it.
Oban whiskey.
Ooh. Name drop. I'm working my way through a Jack Daniel's Winter Jack. It's a Tennessee cider mixed with whiskey.
Now most of us have finished our Winter Jacks and we're moving on to Summer Jacks. but in this case, you've had a winter one.
I'm very unhappy. I'm very, very upset about the glass I just broke because it's my favourite beer drinking glass. It's a Stella Artois glass that I got given for free when I ordered a meal at a pub, and it was very excellent.
Well, look, it may be time to steal one from a pub,
or to give up drinking so that you don't break your glasses.
One or the other. So it's
probably the first one.
Episode 46 of the Guy and Harley podcast. It's late at night. We've had a few drinks. We might get a little bit loosey-goosey.
We had a barbecue.
We ate some meat. I decided to hold in a meat fart earlier out of respect for the podcast. Out of respect. And I'm going to hold on to that until we finish this podcast. So I'm hoping it's not one of the hour-and-a-half ones. Or there could be some serious problems.
Well, the listeners are hoping the same thing.
So, a few things have been happening this week, haven't they?
They have been happening.
And maybe we could talk about this first event that's happened.
Okay. Which one?
Well, you have some interesting news, some big news.
Well, yeah, but... So I've got some big news about a role.
Mm-hmm.
I got the role.
You got the role?
Yeah.
So you had an audition?
Yes.
And then you got the role?
I did.
Oh, congratulations. That's really great, Harley. I think that's great that you got a role. I'm very proud of you, and I am eagerly anticipating the ad.
Well, yeah, so am I. It's pretty exciting. I got a call from my agent saying, well, at first I got a call, I've mentioned it before, it's the A to Z rap ad.
And this was interesting too, I will say, because, sorry to jump in, but you did the A to Z rap here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Highly illegal. Hopefully they won't find out about that. They won't be happy. And basically, I thought that I was like, this is the job that is meant for Harley. It's rapping. Harley can do that. It's a schlubby dad. He's perfected the art of the schlubby dad. He's got the schlubby dad thing down. There's no one schlubbier or daddier than Harley Neville at this point.
If you've got a schlubby dad role, I'm your guy.
So this whole idea, I was like, and basically what happened is, you'd had this audition, and the job had been cancelled. And
which I've never really heard of before.
Yeah, an ad being cancelled, and basically, it was a real head scratcher because I said before you even audition, I was like, look, I think you got a really good shot for this one. Like, this is right up your alley. There's going to be no one that is going to be schlubby and daddy and have the ability to rap. You'll have a schlubby guy, sure. You'll have a dad guy, sure. You might have a guy that can rap, but you'll never have all three at once except for Harley Neville.
Yeah.
And so
who's also an actor, I guess, as well. You need to have that actor element as well.
Exactly. And so I thought that I was like, shit, like no doubt he will be in the top, like the top three. But I also can't foresee because actors are not multi-talented, right? They normally are good at standing in front of a camera and looking pretty, and standing in front of a camera and kind of thinking thoughtfully about something. And that's really what they do. And, of course, occasionally they'll be required to do stunts and stuff like that. But they're not going to be asked to do a rap from A to Z at an insane rate, which is a tongue twister. That's just not going to happen. That's not in their repertoire. So, then here, accomplished MC and aspiring poet Harley Neville comes along and basically knocks it out of the park. So I was shocked when you initially weren't in the top, whatever it was. And, and I was like, that's really weird. That doesn't make any sense to me. They cancelled it, they uncancelled it, and you got the gig.
Yeah.
As I foresaw, but as I thought was just and right. And so what's going on?
Well, you did. I admit your enthusiasm did give me a boost because while Guy was saying, "Well, Harley, there's no other schlubby dads that can rap, mate. You're the one. You're schlubby dads that can rap and act. Like you've got that niche.
Yeah.
That's your market."
Yeah.
But I was kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. I was like, "Oh well, there must be so many kind of people who used to rap when they were teenagers who are now like 32, 33 and are actually dads and have actually gotten fat, but can still do a bit of rapping, because, Eminem came out when we were 16.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are 32 that picked up rapping at that time. So I was thinking, surely they've found somebody like that. And then pretty much I just didn't hear... Well, and then Guy's enthusiasm did help me. He kept, nah, you're the one for this job. But eventually, I didn't hear anything anyway. I heard nothing at all, which normally means you haven't got it. And then eventually I heard it's cancelled from an email. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's good that they let me know. And then just recently I get this call, oh, actually, no, you've got the role.
It's uncancelled, and guess what?
You've got it.
And guess what? You're flying to Sydney to film it.
Yeah.
For a week, right? For about a week?
For 5 days. 5 days, yeah.
5 days in Sydney. You're only shooting for one of those days.
So I'll have to do some wardrobe fittings. I'll have to do some rehearsal.
Yep.
But that won't take 4 days.
No, and a lot of the time is going to be allocated to you basically whacking off in your hotel.
Yeah.
But also
there will be an element of that,
and also seeing the sights of porn in your hotel.
Yeah. Seeing the sites and then running back to the hotel to masturbate about them.
But so it's basically like, well, it is like a very well paid vacation.
Yeah.
To get to do what you love. And this is why,
and to end up with get a great opportunity at the end of it, to get some publicity. It's fucking exciting.
Because this A to Z rap, they're going to be thrashing the shit out of this on TV in Australia. And also, it's kind of a memorable thing. A to Z raps are big on YouTube, in case you haven't noticed. There's quite a few. They have many millions of views because people like seeing other people do... vocal acrobatics, vocal gymnastics. So I think that this is one of those kind of ads that someone is going to possibly be really into and is going to have a big online fan base, and you now may supersede. You'll no longer be the guy that was inside Jeff the Snake. You'll no longer be the guy with the meatballs. You'll progress to the A to Z rapping dad.
Yeah, A to Z schlubby dad. Schlubby rapping dad. That's what I'm going to be.
So I'm excited, and I think it's going to be cool. And it's obviously going to be like a very big production. They're going to have all the bells and whistles. You're going to look like $1 million. So, and it'll be interesting. You can report back to me on how that director directs you.
Yeah.
And whether he's better than me or not.
Yeah. He won't be.
Of course he won't
You're
be.
definitely my favourite director.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Now, one thing is, I don't know if the listeners know this, but New Zealand is often the place where Australian ads get filmed.
Yeah.
And that's because it's cheaper over here.
Yeah.
You know, our unions are not as strong, so you've got to, like, I don't know, you can get away with paying people less and the actors less and stuff like that, which is great for us because we get cast.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, it seems that it is, they auditioned Australia and New Zealand, but they're not filming in New Zealand, they're filming in Australia. So therefore, I'm the best rapper in Australasia.
That's right. You're the best schlubby dad rap.
So 360, if you're listening,
Yeah.
better luck next time,
Or do
buddy.
any of them have kids?
360 might, I don't know. Nah, he probably doesn't.
Yeah, so there you go. Even though you don't have kids technically, just in this fictional ad. But yeah, so that's happening. And I guess the other thing that we should probably quickly talk about is that we did some filming.
Ah, yes.
And we did some filming. We filmed a skit, which is currently being edited. We just got a tweet with a funny picture of your face in a
Mid-shoot.
disgusting grimace.
Yeah, with my hairy shoulders.
And that is being currently edited as we speak. So, we've been sort of meaning to, we've been talking about the paid Pigville vacation. That's what I'm calling it.
The paid pig. I call it semi-pro. Guy calls it the paid Pigville vacation. Guy calls it 3 months off work.
I call that watching a lot of movies. I call that catching up on all my favorite shows.
For first-time listeners, guys working 3 days at work, 4 days off, 4 days to concentrate on Pigville. We've gone semi-pro.
And that's because basically Harley is my mysterious benefactor, has been benefacting me to the tune of $155 a week, so that I can only work 3 days a week and give me freedom to get a lot of stuff done.
It's an investment, though. It really is. I had no issue with that decision. In fact, it was my idea. I wanted to do it because
I vetoed it several times.
He did. This is not the first time I brought it up. It had been shot down several times. Guy was like, "No, I don't want your money. I can do it myself.
I'm a big boy now.
I can work 40 hours a week at night and be productive.
I can work 140 hours a week."
And so I definitely had no sort of reservations about it, because really I had a little bit of savings sitting aside, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I was like, I want to do something productive with it. What am I going to sit it there, and what is it for my retirement or some bullshit?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do with it?
What is this? For financial security?
And so what really bothered me was that Pigville had kind of slowed down. Purely, I'd say, really because of the features. It's because of Older, and it's because of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. That means we hadn't shot a skit in, 3 years almost. And, so it kind of bothered me, because I saw this YouTube channel sitting there with all these 19,000 subscribers, and it's like, we've got to, get some shit out to these guys, Yeah. And so, it just seemed...
We've got to feed the ignorant masses.
We do. And we do. And... yeah, so it was an easy decision, really, because I really wanted to see us be more productive. Besides, also, I know that you are a self-motivated worker. I don't really have to crack the whip or stand behind you and be like, hey, so what have you been doing today? Have you done some editing today, guy? Have you been working really hard on some stuff?
Just walk past my room at 5 a.m. and you'll see me there.
With your headphones on.
Yeah, with my headphones on, toiling away.
On Older.
And also, to be honest, it's great. It is still additional motivation for me, because I'm like, shit, man, I'm I'm in a golden period here, a golden period of productivity. So I have to capitalize on that. If we get to the end of this and I haven't done heaps of cool shit, I'll feel bad. I'll feel like a piece of garbage. So, that does inspire me to sort of stay up and keep sort of chipping away at everything. So we shot the skit. It was a lot of fun. It was good. It was good to get back into the flow of things, just into the sort of rhythm and just like, oh yeah, this is why we do this. It's not just to like do features and stuff. It's just because it's actually fun to actually film things. It's just a little bit expensive. That's the only. But I think that was the other thing that was holding us back, is that I went through a very poor period after Older, because I basically spent all my money on Older. Then I accumulated a lot of debt through Older, which I am still paying off now. And so those two things kind of forced me to work more to kind of stay on top of the ever increasing, expenses. And so that also prevented me from sort of getting on with, other Pigville stuff. But what we're working on now is what I like to call Wankthology. And it's basically a series.
That is what it's developed into.
A Wankthology, which is basically a series of skits where we, as comedians, have the last word on masturbating. There's no more masturbating jokes after we finished our Wankthology. You talk about horror films, you talk about the ABCs of death, this recent one, Tales of Halloween. Okay, we're doing our own anthology about wanking.
Tale of Spank.
Yeah.
Spankoween. Not my best word.
Not your greatest. We've had a few drinks.
Spank.
You just said spank. Yes. To qualify that. So what we're working on is now a series of masturbating skits, basically, with and so what I want is that basically we do these skits and then no one else can really do them anymore. Like, how you see a genre like the superhero genre is done to death, and we go, look, there can't be any more superhero films, there's just too many. Okay, the wanking skit is just being done by these guys. We can't do it because they've done it. They've done everything there is to do. And now we have to reinvent the wanking genre if we even want to come close to these guys. So that's what we're chipping away at.
If you guys have ever seen any of our older skits, such as The Heat and Eat, a classic, or Blow Up Doll, another personal favourite of mine, then you will really appreciate this new skit, which is called The Guy in Harley Show Not Wanking. That was simultaneous. Not wanking. So I think it's, I don't know, like I feel really positive about it. I think it might actually be...
Oh, it's going to be very funny.
I think it's got the potential to be the best.
Of
the Wankthology.
I think so.
Series.
Yeah, arguably Not Wanking Part 2, which has also been written, is not as strong as Not Wanking. And, to be honest, the sequels are really as good as the original.
That's true. And also, Not Wanking had the benefit of being written 3 years ago, whereas Not Wanking 2 was whipped up this weekend. So we had a bit of time to percolate on Not Wanking, and just let it sort of develop and evolve. And it's gone through a few drafts.
Exactly, let it evolve. And we've got other couple of things that we're looking at doing. We've also sort of upgraded our gear. So we've got some sort of new gear for our camera, and we've hacked the camera. So it's got this Magic Lantern software, which in theory allows it to shoot in sort of raw, super.
I want it raw.
Yeah, baby, I like it raw. And that's what everyone says when they film with this. So that's going to be really cool. And for me, I've been, I heard this description the other day, right? And it was an author, and he said, at a point in an artist's life, I've forgotten it
now. Welcome along to the Drunkcast.
I better have another whiskey, and then I'll see if I can remember it.
Okay,
here we go. Here, I've got it. At some point in an artist's lifetime, he comes up to the limits of his creative vocabulary. And what that means is that essentially, and some people choose to stay within their vocabulary and be very successful, and some people try to push against it and push beyond.
Are they essentially talking about continuing to evolve your style?
So, whereas, at one point, Harley was just a regular dude who did some acting, and now he's become a gay poet. He went up to
derogatory use of the word gay.
He went,
inappropriate.
He came up against the limits of his artistic vocabulary, and then he transcended them into a new phase of poetry.
This poetry is the thing that's made me the most excited in a long time. I've sunk a lot of hours into it.
Yeah, you really have. And so, that was an example of evolution. And for me, I feel like in terms of filmmaking, I've felt that a little bit when we finished the zombie film. I wanted to do something completely different, so we did older. And I also sometimes this Wankthology is probably staying within our artistic vocabulary.
I don't know if that's really pushing.
That's definitely not pushing the limits, but some people can stay there and be very happy, and I can be happy there at certain times. But for me, like upgrading the camera, doing stuff to the camera is that excites me because I've just filmed a feature film with our camera. And I kind of understand its limitations, and I understand its inherent, problems with shooting in this sort of style. And, for me, I want to push beyond that, and I want to have options that provide me with different things that you're not constrained by those same limits again when you're shooting these new things. And so that, that's why I sort of, have just bought a new lens, or I want to get a shoulder rig or whatever. It's because I'm pushing against the constraints of our artistic vocabulary.
Good. Well, just going back to that shoot, it was quite a funny shoot.
Well,
in the sense that, like, I was just in my undies, like naked except for some like Y fronts, but
not flattering.
Not flattering. Very hairy, bald.
Not in great shape.
Not in the best shape I've been in.
In the worst shape so far.
Arguably the worst shape I've been in my life.
Well, definitely the worst shape of any skit you filmed with your top off. Right?
Well, yeah.
Probably?
Well, definitely.
That's fair to say.
Yeah, I think that's really pretty fair. Well, I hadn't really thought about it like that, but thank you. I guess I was in the worst shape of any topless scene I've ever filmed. No, well, actually, I don't think I'm really in much worse shape than in Reflections.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Except for in Reflections, a short film I did, I was manscaped. So I had no hair, whereas this time I'm just rocking the full beast mode, 100%, like full power.
Yeah.
Full power beast mode on the back.
Well, this is the question, right? Does the hair, while disgusting, conceal the sort of flab that hides beneath? The kind of the fatty
wiggles, wiggly fatty gut.
Yeah.
Nah, I reckon it's the opposite. I reckon I'm skinnier when I take the hair off.
Right.
Could be wrong.
Well, you
maybe
definitely
optimistic.
You lose
some girth,
like a 2-inch circumference around you. So that would give the illusion of being thinner.
But so it was. It was a strange shoot in that we were using 2 new crew members, and yet so they didn't really know what to expect. And then
you didn't give them the script.
No, I gave it to the DP, but I didn't give it to the soundie or the photographer.
Yeah.
They had no idea what to, or the makeup artist actually. None of them had, but we've worked with the makeup artist Julie Clark.
So she knows Julie. She knows
she knew what to expect. She was just like, "Oh, yep, another day on the Pigville set."
You guys.
Oh, what part of the Wankthology are we shooting now? Eh?
Yeah.
Which wank joke are we shooting today? But yeah, so anyway, it was a bit of a strange shoot because it was, these guys who had never met us, and then basically it was like, okay, all right, guys, we're about ready to shoot. I'll just jump into my costume, eh? And then I just emerge from the room in a tiny white Y front, and jump on the bed as if I'm just ready to get drilled. And I don't know what they thought about that.
Yeah, well, certainly, I guess I didn't really think about it in that context, but
I did.
It would have been a shock to their system.
Yeah.
At that point, I was all business. I was thinking about shots. I was thinking about, how we're going to do it. And I was, trying to keep everything, keep an eye, see that things were all running smoothly. So I wasn't really thinking about their horrific reaction to what they were witnessing.
Well, I mean... I was all business too as a producer, and I was thinking, I'm a very bad producer. I should have warned
really pre-warned these people.
That there's basically nudity. There's 95% nudity.
Yeah.
Or 99% nudity.
Yeah.
99. Basically, I'm covering, the hole at the back and my balls and my wang, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I should have told them that. But they seemed cool with it.
They were okay, and it was a fun shoot, and we're looking to try and schedule another shoot for Tuesday next week. Hopefully, so looking forward to that. And I guess we should reopen one of our beloved segments. We've had a lot of requests about this segment.
Yeah, we have. People have been hitting us up talking about this.
So I guess it's time to open the troll hole.
Now, to be fair, it's actually this week. It's kind of actually what I'd call the constructive criticism with a shitty attitude hole. So if we can have a go at that. Constructive criticism with a shitty attitude hole.
Okay. The constructive criticism with a shitty attitude hole.
Something like that. So this was a comment on our podcast, which I have been uploading.
Now, it's one thing to knock our films, but you take it a step too far where you knock this podcast.
Start bagging on the podcast. So this was a comment. I've been uploading the podcast episodes to YouTube with photo montages of us.
Yeah.
Every week the montage is slightly different. I add in some new photos or rearrange them or whatever. Now you guys can go and find that, and if you could hit play on that'd be good because we get paid. It's the only way we earn money online. So go search on our channel and you can see all 40. Well, every single episode goes up there. So anyway, somebody commented. Recently, this guy.
Which episode was it?
It was on. It was very recent. It wasn't last week. It might have been the week before.
Okay,
I think. So anyway, this guy commented. This is from Brennan Callan.
Fucking Brennan.
Brennan Callan.
What do you want, Brennan?
He says your introduction was way too long. Already having a rather long video, it would have reduced it by about 2 minutes. Then, starting off with your sponsor for a few minutes just means that you have not engaged your audience, and it makes us wonder why we are listening to your podcast. Then, when you do not know where to find your sponsor's products, it makes you guys seem ill-prepared. Now, I just do not see myself continuing to listen to your endless commercial. That is more appropriate at the end of the show, but not up front. You have burned up about 5 minutes before getting to any of the actual topics. I'm already feeling as if I want my 5 minutes back.
Well, Brennan.
Actually, so it's a little bit more.
Sorry.
These days, he gives us some fucking advice.
All right.
Like this cunt knows. Here we go. These days, if you cannot hook your audience in less than 30 seconds, then they shall halt your video and move on with life. I am moving on too.
All right, Brennan, let me burn your ass for a second. All right, dipshit. Number one, if you listen to podcasts with any regularity, you will know that at the top of the episode, 9 times out of 10, they will talk about their sponsor. They may also do a plug at the end. However, if you're looking statistically at podcasts as a whole, most of them do their plugging up front. Most of them do their sponsors up front before diving into the podcast, because that's when people are listening.
Do they usually know where to find the sponsors?
Yes, Brennan. Normally they know where to find wherever their sponsors are from, okay? Yes, we fucked up on that one. I'll give you that. Okay?
It was the ice creams.
Fucking Brennan. And what sort of a name is Brennan anyway?
Well, that's true.
Like, let's get off the... Like, when you have a baby and you look at this baby and you go, you know what? It's a cool name? Brennan.
Yeah.
Brennan. Like, of all the names, Brendan? Maybe? Nah, we're going to go Brennan. So he has to keep spelling his name and people keep mistaking it for another name.
You know that this guy is in the same sort of... he's the same as us in the sense that your guy, I'm Harley, he's Brennan. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed his name every single time. They go, and what's your name? He goes, Brennan. They go, right, Brendan.
Yeah.
Mail goes to his house addressed to Brendan Callan.
Well, what is this? The Harley hole? Where you bash us? you bash my criticism
of him.
I
was just trying to find a common ground, with the guy.
Look, Brennan, there's a good point that we should have thought of, we should have had that information to hand. I will agree with you there. But everything else is way off, buddy. Way off.
Well, I do think that he might have something about our introduction being too long. I mean, when this is not The Sopranos, man. It might be a little bit streaming all over your face. Was that really the best joke we made?
Well, you wanted that joke in there.
No, I
chose that joke.
No, I gave it a go. I was kind of surprised it made it.
You chose that joke.
You just liked it.
No, you were like, how about this? Here you go. Here's the magic.
Yeah, I just tried a whole bunch of random things. And that was the one he chose.
Look, that was the best one. But also, again, this is the problem, Harley. You don't listen to podcasts. You're too easily swayed. I am a podcast
no.
connoisseur.
Because somebody else has mentioned that the intro is too long.
Oh, fuck off, man.
Tanya from my work. She was you've got that big, long, silly intro.
It's a great intro, and it conjures up emotive ideas and concepts that are near and dear to our hearts.
I'm just saying we should cut a couple of minutes out of it.
No, it's not a minute long. It's not even a minute long. It's half a minute long. If you can't wait half a minute to get some of this delicious podcast goodness, you're the problem, man. You're the ADD problem of society. You need to just take a chill pill, unbutton your pants.
Generation ADD.
Nice, I like what you did there.
Yeah,
and
took a while, but I got there.
And just sit back and go, you know what? I'm going to let this wash over me. And then I'm going to listen to some podcasting goodness.
And then I'm going to listen to the same intro again next time and have it wash over me again.
And it's going to wash over me just as well as it did the first time because it's so deep and enjoyable.
Well, look, there was something else he said here, which was...
It also gets you G'd up. It's got the Street Fighter theme in it. Come on. Here we go. Brent, you got more criticism?
Well, no, it's the same one. I was just going to say, what about how he says, these days, if you cannot hook your audience in less than 30 seconds... Okay, firstly, Brennan, thanks for the advice, mate, but I guarantee we've got a few more views than you. Secondly... That's all I had to say about that. Secondly...
I think we know a little thing about hooking audiences, Brennan. Just quietly.
50 a week on the podcast can't be wrong.
Come on.
And then, so the other thing here is, if you can't hook them in 30 seconds, then they just halt your video and move on with life. Now, who says halt? Are you in the German army? Is it World War II? And are you the commandant of Auschwitz? Because stop saying halt. Nobody says that, Brennan.
Come on, Brennan. Upskill.
Classic Brennan.
Classic Brennan.
Classic Brennan.
Upskill your vocabulary, bro. Come on. We all know. It's stop. They will stop this. No one's going to halt anything. We're not riding in a horse and carriage across the fucking old west here.
So he says, so they'll be moving on with their life, and I'm moving on with my life too.
Not before you wrote that comment, Brennan, which took quite a lot of time.
That means we won, mate.
We won the war.
We won. Also, I reckon he'll be back. Oh, I tell you what, he thumbed down the video. We've had very few thumbs down on the podcast because nobody's listening.
Brennan.
And he thumbed it down.
Brennan, we're giving you free content. And you would disrespect us like this? Now, it's one thing to walk away from your chair and not listen, but to thumb it down for just a couple of hard-working Kiwis just trying to entertain you.
To like inhibit us.
That's not right, Brennan. That's not right, bro.
Inhibiting the dream. You should be an enabler, Brennan.
Did you do any research on Brennan?
Nah, I didn't click on him.
Okay.
I should do. I really should.
We should have.
I should have clicked on him. He's probably got more views than us.
Well, I don't get too carried away.
Well, I wouldn't either, because it's never ever people with views or with content that go around like shitting on other people's stuff. Never on YouTube.
No.
Never ever. It's always just what's that line? Bitches post anonymous.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, as soon as you realize how difficult it is to do something in life, you suddenly have a greater appreciation of other people trying to do things in life. And that's, obviously applicable to filmmaking and internet stuff. But, that's the thing is there's a whole sea of people out there doing jack shit, but sitting on the internet writing negative comments, being grumpy that they haven't had sex and they're living in their parents' basement, and that's their life, and that's always going to be their life, and mad because someone threw an onion ring at them at Burger King because they undersold them one onion ring.
That went on a strange tangent at the end there.
Well, that's, these people are mad at their lives,
right.
But if they'd actually tried to craft a story or work towards becoming, do a PhD or something like that, they'd suddenly be like, oh, damn, this shit's tricky. I really admire...
Stop shitting on these other people.
I really admire
shit.
people that are trying to do this, because now I know how hard it is. And that's almost what you want to do, is you want to sit someone down and, they've got this...
make them do a PhD.
Well, basically, you've got this... There's this series called Black Christmas, I think it's called. And essentially, one of the concepts in it is that you can essentially live... it's a science fiction show, and you can essentially... Black Mirror, that's what it's called. I think that's what it's called. Not Black Christmas. That's a horror film.
No, what, are you
I'm drunk.
About, you clearly
Black
are.
Mirror.
I was like, he can't be talking about Black Mirror because Guy knows the name Black Mirror.
I was...
he's been telling me for ages to watch it.
This whiskey is potent. This is like $100 whiskey I'm drinking.
I think I've noticed you getting drunker.
Yeah. And I'm about halfway through my whiskey.
At first I was worried that I was too drunk.
No need to worry, bro.
Now we're good.
But anyway, this Black Mirror. So essentially, one of the concepts within it is that
I feel like we've relieved the pressure now. The audience expects less from us. We can really just relax,
there's this idea that essentially you can sort of live, like years and years and years, but it will only take a second. But you will have still experienced that. You just won't have aged at all. That's one of the concepts, so they put people in this thing, and it's so, you could be marooned for 20 years, you have no one to talk to, have nothing to do, and then the person comes back to you, only a minute's passed for them, but 20 years has passed for you.
You're right, but it's like Inception, where they go into the dream world, and they can spend a lifetime in the dream world and then come out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway... that's what I want to do. Like, anytime I see a shitty comment on something, I want to put them in this Inception, in this Black Mirror scenario, and I want them to just live through the thing that I lived through, and then just come out and go, would you like to make a bad comment now?
And they'll go, sorry.
And they'll go, you know what? No. And I don't ever want to be put back in your position again.
And I don't want to ever feel like you ever again. So
please, God, I'll write as many good comments as you want. Just never put me into Inception. So unfortunately, I can't do that. But, when we get to the singularity, I'm looking forward to forcing that upon people.
Good.
So you got any other topics?
I do. I got one here. Now, this is a listener topic. So it's nice to get listener topics. Jason Coombs says...
Well, also quickly shout out to Blair.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, we'll do that now, yeah.
Shout out to Blair. He was our director of photography.
Blair Irvine.
He was our director of photography on the most recent shoot, and he's a long-time listener. So he's probably listening to this at some point. So we'd just like to say, Blair, thank you. You did a great job. There's a couple of takes out of focus. I'm not going to hold that against you.
That's the wrong Blair. It's not Blair Irvine. That's a different Blair that I went to.
Well, which Blair is it? He didn't tell me his last name, so it's not my fault, Blair.
No, because Blair Irvine was this rapper that I did Polytech with.
Well, which is right, Blair?
Well, obviously, it's...
Yes. Yes, Harley, as you quickly scroll through Facebook looking for his last name.
Well, hang on. It's not Blair Martin, is it? That doesn't look like his profile picture.
Well, we can
It is him. It is Blair Martin.
Okay, Blair Martin.
All right, so it's Blair Martin. Look, Blair, I'm very sorry, mate.
Yeah.
I do know your last name. It's just we've been drinking.
Yeah, we have been drinking, but also we'd just like to say thank you for coming and helping us shoot something. It's really cool that someone that listens to our shit has put their hand up and be like, yeah, sweet guys, I'll help you guys out, and you did a great job, and now you know the thing that you did.
How was the footage looking?
Will exist. Well, like I said, it was looking really good. There was just a couple of sequences where it just got a little bit out of focus, and a couple of takes towards the end.
Yeah.
But apart from that, pristine.
Yeah, and we don't have a follow focus. And
We don't have a follow focus.
We don't have a monitor.
We don't have a monitor.
And I was moving.
So you can be forgiven. Blair, you can be forgiven, but for the next one that you come on, just keep that shit on lock, homie.
There won't be a next one. He's given up. We've just publicly...
He's gone. He's fucking fed up. He's furious. He's been troll-holed. He's been troll-holed.
Yeah.
On our podcast. I apologize, Blair, but thank you. Thank you.
So,
it was only 2 takes.
Now, the next topic on the list is...
Jason Coombs.
Jason Coombs, yeah. So, Jason Coombs, another long-time listener.
Yeah.
But we'll call him Jason Smith, because I just want to get his name wrong as well.
Oh, right.
You know,
Yeah.
well, let's make this the thing.
Yeah.
Now, he says he thought of a potential discussion topic.
Okay.
Now, same-sex stalkers.
Yep.
I had one when I worked at a bookstore, and now I'm afraid that I have one again. It was a fucking Uber driver that took me home a couple of weeks ago. Then he found me on Facebook and flooded my inbox with messages.
Weird.
The previous one was a guy that I had a long conversation with at a bookstore about fantasy and sci-fi.
Never hang out at bookstores.
I guess he thought we had a connection. I felt kind of sorry for him until he tried to get a look at my junk in the men's bathroom at the store. He has left 2 notes. He then left 2 notes on my truck. I think I'm getting those two mixed up, but somebody left some notes on his truck. I think it was the Uber driver that left some notes on his truck. Yeah, Uber driver, notes on his truck. Other guy checking out his drunk at the bookstore after talking about fantasy and sci-fi.
Yeah, which automatically gets me hard. I must say. Look, I can see where this guy's coming from.
Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot to be said for a man that reads sci-fi and fantasy. I feel like there's there's a certain allure. There's actually a word which I can't remember for being attracted to people for their minds. So I think that's definitely what this guy was suffering from. If you're found you in the bookstore.
Well, now, first of all, I mean, is that the so? What is the solution? What is the?
Well, I guess he just said it's just a topic like same-sex stalkers. Like, have we ever had any? You know, we have a
we have an open door policy to stalkers around here.
We do have like a slight gay following. Yep. And there's a few guys out there, the beer lovers, that appreciate our hairy bodies.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't really call any of them stalkers. We've got some followers online. I don't think I've ever had a same-sex stalker. There was a girl in school that always knew my schedule. Yeah. I'd ask her what class I had after lunch because I didn't fucking know, and she knew because she had been stalking me.
Well, her
name was
well, that's not same-sex though, is it?
Well, it's not. But I just wanted to say that her name was
what was her name? Good. Forgot her name too.
You see, Blair? You see?
It's easy to do. It's easy after a few drinks to forget a name.
All right, we'll come back to the name.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, on the one hand, it's like you are clearly an attractive man. And not only are you an attractive man, you clearly are very engaging to talk to. So I think that's quite a big compliment. Like, on the one hand, you know, okay, if we're just basing, like, these 2 people of, like, the look of you. Great. You are handsome to other men.
Yeah.
So that means you're also going to be handsome to women. There's no doubt about it. 2 go hand in hand.
I think the difference is that, you know, like, women don't really look for the opportunities like a man does, you know.
Yeah.
And I also think that, you know, I mean, it's just potentially you just met a sleazy dude, and now you know how women feel. You know,
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
the rapey nature of man. You have come up against the rapey nature of man. We're sorry you had to experience that to see how the other half live, but there it happened.
because, you know, like, women get hit on in bookstores all the time.
Yeah, and they get people trying to look at their junk 24/7.
Yeah.
And don't worry about the toilets.
Yeah, they stood on the street.
Yeah.
Ogling them.
No shame. So, you know,
I have a little question, Jason, about I've got some logistics questions here. Now, so this guy was trying to look at your junk in the bathroom at the bookstore. Now, if you're at the urinal in a bar, for example, well, looking at junk, that's quite feasible.
Yeah.
But, like, what was the bathroom like in a bookstore anyway? I mean, like what were you doing in there in the bathroom at the same time as him?
Well,
what was going on exactly? I just feel like
we need more clarification. Look, I'm guessing that he had a conversation with this guy. He excused himself to go to the bathroom. This guy followed him in.
He started taking a dump. 2
urinals, boom, checking it out. Maybe kind of tried to start the conversation again by the urinal and was like, yeah, so Khaleesi,
so I could be the Lord of Urine.
yeah, Frodo and all that. Hey, is that your penis? Trippy. We both got our penises out here. That's crazy, eh? So what are you doing later? Is what I'm guessing sort of happened, maybe not quite as explicitly as that. Maybe it was a subtle, sly look, you know? It was a subtle, sly...
we all have a sly look every once in a while.
A glance, a look back.
Yeah, have a little look, you know? Hey, what are you packing? Whoa, nice.
Well, also, there's a certain thing called peripheral vision.
Yeah.
You know? So there is at some points in a urinal, there is no way that at some point, at some part of your eye cannot be registering what is next to you. And, you know, the bigger the fish, you know.
I have, like, honestly no interest in seeing a man's dick at the urinal. And it's not because I'm not
curious.
You know, like, I don't. Yeah, it's not that I'm not curious, I guess, but it's more just that when if they've got a real big one. Yeah. It doesn't make me feel good. You know, you don't. You know, you know, when you leave the toilet, you need to feel good.
Yeah,
you know, you've achieved something. Relieved. You know, you don't want to be walking out there going like, "Oh, mine's little." Or, you know, what about that fucking massive salami that he was swinging down there? You know, so there's just nothing to be gained by that peripheral sneak peek. No. But anyway, this guy. I actually had a similar situation, vaguely, sort of similar. Now, it wasn't a bookstore. It was a gay bar.
And it wasn't a man checking out your junk. It was a man giving you a blowjob.
But it was in the bathroom.
And that's where the similarities are.
So, when I was in Argentina, I went to this bar with all these people from my hostel. And we all went along. And it was called, I think it was called Sunday.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it's not exclusively a gay bar, but it's a very sort of gay-friendly bar. And lots of hot girls would go there so that they could dance without being hit on by sleazy douchebags.
Makes sense.
And so anyway, I went with all these people that were from my hostel, and eventually I needed to go to the toilet. And I went to the toilet, and I went to the downstairs toilet, right? Yeah. And I walked in, and there was this guy standing at the urinal, and I was like, oh, yep, sweet as, dee. And I wandered past him, and I was just standing there taking a leak. And then I looked over at him, and he was, like, looking at me directly, like, waiting for me to turn and look at him, and stroking his dick, which was erect. And just looking at me and kind of like shaking it at me like, hey, so
what do you think?
What do you reckon?
Well, we good?
Yeah, like,
we good?
We on?
Yeah. Well, look, also...
I haven't finished the story.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So anyway, it gave me a bit of a fright. Because, like, I mean, I knew it was a gay bar, but I didn't necessarily expect to see men, like, shaking their dick at me.
Yeah, and it was even scarier when you were jerking them off.
Yeah, and I didn't expect to be deep throat. And anyway, I like, went to the cubicle and finished my piss there. I was like, oh, no. And I went to the cubicle and finished my piss. And then
did you shake your head at him?
I was like, oh, like a sort of a, no. kind of because he was kind of like you know like keen. But the thing is, he was speaking like he speaks Spanish, not English.
Yeah.
So there was also a language barrier.
Yeah. He was like. Can you help me with this engorged penis? Yeah. It's been erect for 10 hours, and I think I really need to see a doctor.
I need an ambulance. And so anyway, afterwards, I went and I told my friend, and I was like, man, yeah, this is what happened. And he was like, oh, did you go to the downstairs toilet? And he was like, oh, you do not go to the downstairs toilet. Yeah. Apparently there's some sort of code. I guess there's a code. I don't know if it's only in Argentina or only in that bar.
Oh, I don't think so.
Or if it's an all-round, all around the world gay code, like the downstairs toilet's where the action's at.
Well, also it's just like, it's, gay men are far more...
Are you going to make a generalization?
Yep. They're far more promiscuous than straight women.
Well, you might be right. I'm not going to back it. I'm not going to back that up until I've read some stats. I think
we can do some research on that, and I think we can conclusively say that it's a bit of a free for all sometimes, and also it's a more
still a generalization.
Yeah, I am generalizing, but I think I'm generalizing from a point of facts. I'm pretty sure I've read a thing, and I have also talked to several gay men in my life.
There's only 2 in Dunedin, right?
But it's this idea. So like, this is just sort of a common sort of thing. So I guess for Jason's point of view is like, maybe this was a gay guy, and he was looking to instigate the classic gay bathroom scene, which often plays out. Which he
go to the urinal, jerk off together.
Yeah, go to the urinal, and things can escalate from there in multiple ways.
Yeah,
but obviously they didn't escalate because Jason wasn't interested. So it's a tricky one, but it's a compliment at the end of the day, and you just got to take it as such.
I think A, it's a compliment at the end of the day, and B, eventually this is going to be how it is. Like, as society continues to evolve and people become more sexually liberated and more accepting of people's choices or however people are, I really think that eventually
we're all going to be gay.
No, we're all just going to men and women can be hit on equally by a gay man, openly and in the public, in much the same way that men hit on women nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
That's just the way it'll evolve eventually.
That's just the way it is.
Yes, so thanks for that, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Good topic. Now, have you got another one? Or
I do.
Got one. Yeah.
Well, let me bring it out, because this is a filmmaking podcast.
It's a podcast about our lives.
Now, I'll say a couple of things. Now, first off, Zombie Holocaust has come out. Sometimes I complain about it on here. Sometimes I complain about me on here. Some might say all the time. But, and I remember being like, we were talking to our distributors about how the film was going to be released, and I was incredibly frustrated that it was only going to be released in a couple of cinemas, particularly that it wasn't going to be released in the place where we made the fucking film, Dunedin. And it was frustrating because I felt like we were really hurting our sort of audience in terms of our potential audience, and that has been a bit of a bug of mine to bear. And you go, oh, I just wish it was released in more cinemas and blah blah blah. But sometimes you come across a story that is kind of puts everything in context for you, and you go, you know what? That's pretty good. What happened was pretty good. And this is one of those stories. So, in the wake of overwhelmingly negative reviews, the film Momentum flopped hard in the UK, making a mere £46 during its opening weekend. The Stephen Campanelli directed heist film, starring both Morgan Freeman and Quantum of Solace star Olga Kurylenko, had a budget of £20 million and opened across just a handful of British theatres. According to The Telegraph, 2 of the 10 cinemas that screened the movie didn't sell a single ticket.
How much is a movie ticket? If 8 cinemas sold a ticket, is that not more than £46? Because if 8 cinemas sold 1 ticket each, 2 of them sold none,
Well,
surely that's still more than £46.
Well, a ticket over there is probably when I was there, it was probably like, I don't know, £8, between £8 and £10.
Right, so it'll be more now.
Well, no, it was about £6 when I was initially there.
Yeah.
So I reckon it could be between £8 and £10. £46.
Yeah. So but I mean that math don't add up. But yeah, all right.
Well, look, this has been officially reported.
Well, yeah, but so is like the war on terror has been officially reported. You know, official reporting doesn't really make it a real thing.
Well, a box office report is a box office report, though.
Right.
That's not skewed. That is just, this is what it made in its opening weekend. So remember, that's 2 days.
Yeah.
So, you know, over the week, surely more people saw it. But over that 2-day period, about 5 people went to go see it.
Right.
Probably. Which is not great when you have Morgan Freeman and some other Russian babe in it and a budget of £20 million.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's clearly something has gone horribly wrong there by the producer or whoever, or the distributor or something, because film, like, obviously it's not that the marketing was bad, in the sense that it looked like a shit film. The problem was that nobody heard about the film coming out. They just stuck it in a cinema and didn't tell anybody.
Well, probably a combination of the two. So no one had really heard about it, but I guess presumably because the distributor had decided it was a dud and had sort of abandoned it, so they hadn't really promoted it at all. And then leading on from that, negative reviews. Then leading on from that, the combination of the two, no one had any interest in seeing it. But it just makes you go, fuck, can happen to anyone. And this didn't happen to the zombie film. No, I haven't seen it. And this didn't happen with the zombie film. And, you know, that's the thing is, like, you know, at the end of the day, we got released in, like, a few cinemas, but quite a lot of people went to see it in those cinemas. And quite a few people have sort of gone to these independent tug screenings, which is really awesome. And the problem for Stephen Campanelli is this kind of record-breaking low is something that is going to kind of haunt him. And it's going to be very difficult for him to shake off as he progresses and wants to make another film when you have one of the lowest grossing films of all time versus the cost of it, you know, being so expensive as well.
Surely this publicity, though, at least, because I heard about this too, surely this publicity will ultimately help it, because, you know, well, at least now we've heard of it.
Well, it will help, you know, the odd person that's curious, but it won't help the director when, you know, Hollywood, you know, producers open up the paper and read this little article. They go, shit, well, this guy who's now pitching me a film has just blown 20 million and recouped £46. I'm not sure I want to trust him with the next Avengers movie. So, you know, all I'm saying...
It could be worse.
Is it could be worse.
See, I thought there was going to be a twist where at the end you were going to say, so anyway, what I'm saying is that sometimes things are really bad, but then ultimately it got all the publicity around this, it picked it up and it got distributed in the US, and then now it's made £40 million.
No, there's no silver lining, there's no happy ending for Stephen. There's no urinal happy ending for Stephen. You know, when someone looks across, the people looked across at his junk and they were not interested. They walked away. They voted with their wallets on his junk.
£46, it's ridiculous. Like,
well, I think that's. I mean, that's the thing. Is like most of the time people don't report that. You know, you only get these kind of reports when it's so low that it's insane that you think someone might want to read about it. Normally, when a film opens like below par or even like very below par, you know, it will be reported in like Box Office Guru and stuff like that. But it won't really. You know, no one will really take any interest in it outside of, you know, that sort of sphere of filmmaking. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. What's your next one?
Well, you won't like it.
Oh boy,
something to do with poetry.
Well, it's only 1 a.m. Harley. We're only drunk and it's only 1 a.m.
All right, so we didn't mention it last week, but my book is getting published. Now, I've been working on that, sending them some information. It's a short book of my poems.
So, your book is being published?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the problem is I need a name for it.
Right, yeah.
Now, I have been trying to think of a name, but maybe some of the listeners have a name or two for us.
Are you going to pitch some of these names?
Well, yeah, I've written down a few names that most of them you came up with.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is Harley's book of poetry. It contains, 6 poems?
I think so. Maybe 5. I think it's 5.
5 poems.
I should really know that.
It's kind of a little, you open it up, you read about the world. Your eyes are opened by reading these poems. You're sort of you walk away with a whole new outlook on life and worrying about the plastic bags in the ocean. These are the things that you think about after reading these poems. So, given that context, here are some of the potential names.
So, I read a quote recently, slightly related. I read a quote recently saying that what's a good poem? A good poem is if you walk away from it a different person after having read it, it's a good poem.
Oh, Jesus. Are you reading fucking poetry tips now?
Nah, it came up on Humans in New York.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Thank God.
We haven't lost you that. We haven't
Poetry
gone this
tips.
far.
No, come on, man. I didn't do poetry tips. I don't even know how to define a poem. All right, so options. Here we go. 1. Please recycle. Little on the nose.
A little on the nose.
But I like the idea that you recycle the book, you give it to somebody else.
It's got...
Plus it's saying to recycle.
Look, you just mentioned at the start of this podcast you love double meanings. That's got a double meaning.
Well, I guess we should probably explain as well that the 5 poems essentially all follow various themes. One's about getting old. One's about the huge masses of humanity that believe there's a magic sky daddy that can hear their thoughts and doesn't like it when they wank. Another one is about the environment and how we're basically destroying it, and every piece of plastic you've ever touched still exists. Another one is about how when empires crumble, they often do so over 100 years and don't know that they are crumbling. And that is what's happening to us now. And then the other one is about how we are in our day-to-day lives actually kind of prisoners and we don't really realize it.
So good to keep it positive.
Yeah.
So good to have a positive spin on life.
It's cathartic, bro. Oh, and the other one's about getting old and dying.
Yeah.
The stages of getting old and dying.
Yeah.
It's cathartic to talk about this stuff. Anyway, so that's why Please Recycle is quite good. Anyway, the next one, Soy Como Soy. Now, I've got that tattooed on my foot. It means I am what I am. I kind of like that one. But it doesn't really fit with the poems. Into the Infinite. These are all yours now. Into the Infinite.
I like it.
Non-believer.
Yeah.
I like that one. Atheist. That wasn't one of yours. I just put it down. Plato's Cubicle. I like that one because it's like Plato's Cave, but you're working every day in the cubicle in your office. But it doesn't work. The Return of Saturn. That's the name of one of the poems. Okay.
Too easy.
Too easy. Same with Gravity. Wake Up. Musings for the Earth and Beyond. Chronicles of Man. Letters to the Future.
Right.
Looking to the Horizon.
Is that it? Oh.
Deviations. A Call to Arms. Blueprint for the Future. Green print for the future.
So we switched blue with green.
To make it environmentally friendly.
And now you understand how vast our intellects are.
Pictures in my mind / pictures from my mind. And finally, the shadow of the sun.
Shadow of the sun. Because the sun is casting a shadow.
It's not casting a shadow in any way. There's in no way, shape, or form. I mean, it's something in the sun's light is casting a shadow.
What?
A tree casts a shadow.
What's casting a shadow? The moon? Is anything casting a shadow?
Well,
or is it simply the Earth's rotation is just in darkness and there's no shadow? What wouldn't you call that the sun's shadow?
No, we're in the shadow of the Earth. When you're on the dark side of the Earth, when it's nighttime, also known as nighttime, you're in the shadow of the Earth itself, and then it rotates around.
So it's the shadow of the Earth.
There's always a shadow of the Earth.
Oh, well, that's what you should call it. The shadow of the Earth.
Well, it kind of fits with the whole environment
Holy
thing, right?
shit, that's brilliant. We've just figured it out on the podcast.
Well,
That's good.
Genius.
That's good.
Now, your
Shadow of the Earth.
Your basic astronomy concerns me. Your incredibly basic understanding of astronomy concerns me. Yeah, the shadow of the sun.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. Okay, that's good.
Now, there's one more. This is what I've given them. This is what I've given them as a working title. I haven't told you this.
Oh, Shadow of the Earth.
This is the working title I've given them. Harley Neville, the stuff that scares me.
Ugh.
Well, it's because dry balls
to the max.
So I mean, so the thing about the stuff that scares me, right, is that's the theme that runs through all of it. Okay, getting old. That's scary. Religious people,
they're scary.
Working all the time and not realizing that you're a prisoner to your job.
Worrying.
Plastic getting in the ocean.
Disturbing issues environmentally.
And us not realizing that our mighty empire is crumbling.
Ever heard of a little place called Rome, guys?
Exactly.
We're in it.
Exactly. There you go. So yeah, it's all the shit that scares me. So at the moment, that's what it's called.
More a fan of In the Earth's Shadow. It's got dual meanings. It's great.
Yeah.
But we'll let the listeners vote on that. You've heard all those. What do you think?
So
you could influence the
book.
name of a book.
Yeah.
Think about it.
So your options are In the Earth's Shadow or The Things That Scare Me.
Well, what about the other ones?
Well, I mean, you can choose one of the other ones if you want, but those are the two contenders, the two front contenders,
Okay, now just, we're talking about In the Earth's Shadow and The Shadow of the Sun. We're talking about shadows, right? One thing that's really grinded my gears recently is the name of the third Transformers film.
Right.
Dark of the Moon.
Yeah.
Now, this is insane.
Yeah.
You cannot have a title which is so grammatically incorrect. Like, there's a dark side of the moon. It's not called The Dark Side of the Moon because there's a Pink Floyd album or song called Dark Side of the Moon. And so I believe that the title was originally Dark Side of the Moon. And someone somewhere along goes, hey, guys, there's actually a really famous song / album called that. And there is they're quite prone to suing people. So should we maybe not do that? And they go, okay. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, what are we going to do? What are we going to call it? What should we call it instead of Dark Side of the Moon? And then some fucking genius goes, I got it. Dark of the Moon. We just take away side. That makes no fucking sense. The Dark of the Moon. What the fuck is the Dark of the Moon? What is that? That's nothing. There's a dark side of the moon and that's it. There is no Dark of the Moon. There's the moon.
The hair on my butt.
Yeah.
Is the dark of the moon.
There's no fucking... Yeah. On your butt, the hair is the dark of the moon. But on the moon, there is no dark of the moon. There's only the dark side of the moon. There's the moon. Fucking Transformers. Yeah. What is wrong with you guys?
Well, look, a few things about that. First and foremost, I'd just like to say... There is no such thing as the dark side of the moon. Well, it's not real. There's a side of the moon that the Earth doesn't see because they're in fucking... it's what's the word? Locked. Tidally locked. They're tidally locked, which means that the moon doesn't rotate from our perspective. But
the moon rotates, right?
No,
it doesn't.
It doesn't rotate on its axis, but it still spins around the sun.
Yeah,
just like we do.
So it is still dark on one side at all times.
Not permanently. No.
But at all times.
No.
There is a dark side.
No, there's not. There's just a side that we don't see, but it still sees sunlight.
But there is no dark side of the moon, so it doesn't have a day-night cycle.
No. What?
So the moon doesn't have a day-night cycle.
It doesn't have a day-night cycle in the sense that it spins on an axis, but it still spins around the sun.
Yeah.
And the sun definitely hits the back end of it. I know it does.
So, but it still must have some side of it that is dark, the dark side of the moon.
No, at any one point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there is definitely times when there's no sunlight hitting it, but but there's no like side, in the same sense that Earth has a side that sun is not hitting it, the dark side of the Earth.
Yeah, but that's just what they're talking about.
Constantly.
Yeah,
there's
always,
somewhere on Earth that's dark.
Yeah, there's a dark side
same
of
on
Earth.
the moon.
Yeah, there's a dark side of Earth, there's a dark side of the moon.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people seem to think that the Earth, because it's tidally locked, is just that the other side of it just never ever sees any sun, which is not the case. We just never see the other side of it.
Yeah.
But it still sees sun.
I understand that.
So it's not permanently shrouded in darkness.
Nah, but the dark side is just that particular side of that time.
Well, then a better description would be nighttime on the moon.
Yeah, but that sounds way shitter.
No, it doesn't. That should be my book name. Nighttime on the moon.
Well, I tell you what, you call that nighttime on the moon. I guess it's kind of interesting because the moon suggests nighttime anyway. So what is nighttime on the moon? You're taking it one step deeper.
Further, yeah.
And you're like, what is nighttime on the moon? Because the moon is night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see what you did there, but it's still not... It's no dark side of the moon.
Nighttime on the moon.
Look,
that's what Pink Floyd or whoever it was should have their fucking album. Nighttime on the moon.
Well, that's what the Transformers 3 should have called their thing, because then it wouldn't have been sued and it would have gotten across the same gist.
The second thing I was going to say is stop paying attention to fucking Transformers.
I've spent a lot of time worried about that Dark of the Moon title.
Star Wars. Now, it opens on the 17th of December.
Correct.
Now, that is probably the day that I fly to Australia, which means that I will... Because I was planning on getting around to buying a ticket to go to the midnight screening with you on the night of Thursday the 17th.
Yeah.
But that might not be happening anymore.
Yep.
But our old flatmate Rick Schaefer's
Yeah.
is in Sydney.
Yeah.
Crazy Rick.
Yeah, Crazy Rick.
And he is...
Crazy Rick Grimes Schaefer's.
And he mentioned going along to the Star Wars midnight screening. So possibly I'm going with our old flatmate Rick in Sydney.
That's cool.
2 hours after you.
Well, look.
I'll be tired as fuck. It'll be 2 a.m. for me.
Yeah, well, look, I'm super excited. We're counting down the days. We're about, what 15 days away? 16 days away?
No, I don't know. So it's like the 4th, isn't it? 4th,
well, we're talking about this on Friday.
13th. 13 days.
So we're talking 13 days away.
13 days from in Sydney. Yeah, boy.
And this leads in directly to my final topic, which is Star Wars. Mm-hmm. The Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Now, George Lucas recently did an interview for CBS where he sort of talked about why he was not involved in the new Star Wars sequels, because he sold it to Disney. But he also said, look, you go to make a movie and all you do is get criticized. And it's not much fun. You can't experiment. And, he was referring to the critical and fanboy outrage at his prequel trilogy. And he was saying, look, I'm trying to do interesting things. Like, as a filmmaker, I'm trying to test things out. Maybe not all of them will work, Jar Jar Binks, but some of them will, Darth Maul. And so I just want to try these things without everyone jumping on my balls and fucking me over and calling me a piece of shit, because I have feelings too. And when someone calls me a piece of shit and dedicates sort of 3 2-hour episodes of a YouTube review channel to tearing apart my baby, I don't really appreciate it. That's Red Letter Media. I highly recommend looking at those reviews of the Star Wars trilogy through Red Letter Media on YouTube. They're great, interesting reviews about what is kind of wrong with them. But the point is, he was like, and we all collectively should be ashamed of ourselves. George Lucas gave us the greatest trilogy of all time. Yes, better than the Back to the Future trilogy. Yes, better than the Lord of the Rings trilogy with the 4-hour finale that was just a bit over the top. Yes, better than the Indiana Jones trilogy before Kingdom of the Crystal Skull made it a silly quadrilogy. And yes, better than the Alien trilogy before the Alien 4 came along and made that a silly quadrilogy. Right? So he made the greatest trilogy of all time. And then he said, hey, you know what? You guys have all been hitting me up and saying, I want to see more Star Wars. I want to see more Star Wars. I've taken... The first experience almost killed me. I almost died making it. You know, it was so incredibly stressful, but I did it. I did it to tell the story. And now I'm going to do it again for all you guys. And then everyone turns around and goes, George Lucas, fuck you. Eat a dick. You're fucking useless. And I hate you. And all the we talk about, we're dealing with haters. We're on a macro scale. Is it a macro? That's the small one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And he's dealing with it just bombarded 24/7. And he's like, oh, okay, you know what? This is kind of not great. And I didn't really sign up for this. I just wanted to make these films that like I enjoyed and try different stuff.
Well, I'm glad that he made the films.
Me too.
I don't love the prequels, but I also didn't hate them. And I'm really glad he made them. I'd
Thank
much
you,
rather
George.
them exist than not. I did read an interesting sort of fan idea that Jar Jar Binks was actually a Sith Lord. And it had all these video examples. It was like, oh, so here's how Sith Lords move, and here's a Sith Lord doing a flip and how they do it, and then actually look, if you check out Jar Jar Binks here, he does this, and he does that, and oh look, he's on this side of the screen, and then suddenly in this shot, he's on that side of the screen, still shooting at the first place that he used to be, which implies that the filmmakers are aware of the fact that he has moved very, very quickly. It's not just the jump cut.
Yes.
It's not just a continuity error, you know, and all these things. And it was actually kind of cool. It was actually saying that they reckon that him and the Emperor are actually in cahoots.
Well, that's an interesting fan theory. And just to add fuel to that little idea is the fact that he was one of the people that voted Senator Palpatine, a.k.a., spoiler alert, the Emperor, into power. He was one of the people
that was one of the points
that voted him in. So Jar Jar Binks is directly responsible to some degree for the Empire.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was one of the points that it made. That it was like, yeah, this guy's actually a Sith Lord, and he's actually very cunning, and he uses his sort of
bumbling doofusness
exactly as a shield, a screen.
That's not a bad idea.
I should forward it to you. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, please do.
It's pretty good.
And that's the thing is, like, I just feel like we as a...
I'll share it, actually. I'll share it as a comment beneath this podcast.
As a trolling community should have just drawn the line with all the Phantom Menace and all that hate. But also, I thought that he also mentioned another thing that was quite interesting, is said that he did pitch the ideas for the new Star Wars films, you know. He talked about, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, he did sort of pitch his versions for Disney. And he was like, so this is what the characters do, and this is where I could see we're taking it. And maybe even been some like idea that maybe he would have directed one of those. And basically Disney were like, yeah, you know what, George? We're going to go a different route. And I think that's interesting because essentially, you know, again, we mentioned this on another podcast, but the creator of Star Wars is being told that his version of Star Wars is not Star Wars. That's fucking mental. That's like, so, you know, as much as I'm looking forward to this new Star Wars, and as much as we can all sit around and go, yay, it's got everything for the
sorry,
fans.
Van Gogh. This painting you're making isn't a Van Gogh.
Exactly. Well, look, that's a great example, Harley. I'm glad you threw that one in there. I'm so surprised that your level of drunkenness, you could come up with something like that. That's really intelligent. And a great sort of complimentary example to back up my theory. So, you know, this is the thing is, like, at the end of the day, I'm going to love this new Star Wars and I think it's going to be fucking cool. But I also have to admit that if we're all being honest, it is not Star Wars. It is a divergent alternative Star Wars. Much
it's a
like
spin-off.
It's fan fiction. It's fucking fan fiction, Harley.
It is. That's profound.
Star Wars fan fiction. We're about to all go see Star Wars fan fiction at the movies.
To be fair, there's a lot of great Star Wars fan fiction.
Well, that's
there.
true, yeah.
There's heaps.
Yeah.
It's a very rich and vibrant universe.
And I will also just say one more thing before we get off the fucking Star Wars train, is that, you know, also everyone was like, George Lucas shouldn't have directed the new Star Wars films. You know, he didn't direct the other ones. He directed the first one, but he didn't direct Empire and Jedi, so, you know, he's out of touch. He shouldn't have directed, you know, The Phantom Menace. Well, apparently he approached 3 directors. Steven Spielberg, you might remember him from a little film called E.T. or Raiders of the Lost Ark or Saving Private Ryan or fucking Hook or any other of the million amazing films he made. He asked Steven Spielberg, his close friend. He asked Ron Howard, who was the director of, I don't know, Cinderella Man. That's all I can think of at the top of my head.
Yeah, he's the one that
Splash.
he's from Happy Days, right?
He's from Happy Days, but he's done a beautiful Mind, which won an Oscar-winning, director. Oh, he did those fucking films.
Richie.
He did those films that you love. You love the books, the Da Vinci Code. He directed the
I did not love the book. I read the book.
You love it.
I read the book.
Harley loves, is a self-confessed lover of the Da Vinci Code. And Angels and Demons.
Angels and Demons. I've read all of Dan Brown's book. I'm halfway through his last one, and I just kind of got sidetracked by Bridge Too Far. And
Brown is the perfect descriptor of what his books conjure up when I read them. But yes, so he was offered the role, and so was a little guy called Bob Zemeckis, who directed, among other things, Back to the Future, Romancing the Stone, most recently The Walk. So he went to basically the 3 greatest directors of all time and go, do you want to direct Star Wars? And they were all like, nah, George, there's too much pressure, so we're not going to do it. But he tried. So fucking get off George Lucas's nuts and just fucking give him a break. And let's all just settle down and watch this new Star Wars fan fiction.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we're heading into that hour and a half zone that we said we were hoping it wasn't going to be.
Sure.
So we should wrap it up. I'm feeling inspired. I'm going to end it with a poem.
Oh, shit.
Now, are we all done?
We are.
All right, it's only short. In fact, I'll tell you the truth, it's only half a poem. It's just what I've been working on lately, but I like it. So I've been upset by this dude online, Jefferson Bethke, who has been he made this poem called "Why I Hate Religion But Love Jesus."
He's a Jesus zealot.
Yeah, who loves poetry as well. Now, I like the fact that he's making poems, but I just don't really like his poems at all.
Don't like the content.
No, I don't like the content either. But anyway, so this guy Jefferson Bethke has made this poem. It's got 31 million views. It's called "Why I Hate Religion But Love Jesus," and you should look it up. And anyway, so I was thinking of starting a poetry beef war with this guy and hoping he responds. So the first step is to record Gravity, but also to record like a little kind of challenge video to him.
And look,
kind of poke the bear,
Exactly. And look, you've got poetry beef. There's always been rap beef. Eminem and The Source,
Cannabis
and Ja Rule. Let's not forget, most recently, Drake and Meek Mills. And then, of course, most famously, Jay-Z and Nas, or maybe Tupac and Biggie.
Biggie is probably most famous.
Well, I guess that was the one that ended the burst.
Yeah.
Jay-Z and Nas had the kind of the best exchange of rap bars.
Yeah.
And so now we're opening a new beef.
Yeah, poetry beef.
A new poetry beef. And this is, what's his last name? Zaneski?
Jefferson Bethke.
Bethke Neville.
Yeah.
Poetry rap battle begin.
Yeah, so here's what I've been working on, and it's I've got a whole other bunch of verses to put on it, but this is what I got so far. So it goes like this. I'd like to address Jefferson Bethke. You see, the key to salvation is to stand on your own feet. You say you love Jesus, but hate religion, yet they go hand in hand like the egg and the chicken. See, your love for Jesus, yeah, that makes you religious. This is more than an oxymoron, man. This is an oxy-fucking idiot. I mean, pick up a dictionary and flick to religion and you'll see belief in a personal deity. It's the definition. And look, I'm sorry to hear about your addiction to pornography. But jerking off is natural, man. Don't deny your biology. I mean, which one of us is putting on a fake look? You're lying to yourself while I'm whacking it on Facebook, but at least I'm honest, man. Because nobody likes being lied to. Tell your followers the truth, Jeff. You jerk it as much as I do. And then it's going to continue after that. And after that, it's going to start saying something along the lines of, actually, your beliefs are quite damaging and you should really give up on that. And we're all one, so stop segregating us.
Good stuff. But for now, end on a masturbating joke.
So for now, it's just some wanking jabs.
Tie it all back to the Wankthology.
Some wanking jabs.
Brilliant. For now, talk about masturbation.
So
at one point, talk about segregation, but for now, masturbation.
Followed by flagellation.
Well, that was good. I enjoyed that, Harley, so thank you very much. I hope our listeners enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, the Drunkcast. I am Guy Pigden.
I'm Harley Neville.
We'll see you next time.
Buy our movie. You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast. Proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.